Greetings, score users. This is the third demo of the labels program, and it's to illustrate the use of the SEPFILE procedure, which allows you to go from a French score into a German score, and then how to go back again into the French score state. We're going to look at a real-world example. No more pachyderms and pigs and elephants. We're going to be looking at the score to the work Soundings by Elliott Carter. And here are 2 pages from that score. And these pages have multiple systems on each. This first page has 3 systems. You can see there's a system separator symbol right here, which divides them. And in fact, the labels program can distinguish one system from the next through the use of the system separator symbol, and it actually can see where it exists graphically. It's not looking at the click point of the symbol at all. Even though the click point is down here, it can see that the symbol actually is here, and therefore it can see that this is a distinct system from this one. At any rate, so here are these 2 files, and this one has 2 systems in it, not 3. So there are 5 systems altogether, and what we're going to do in a minute is use the SEPFILE procedure in the labels program to extract 5 tiled-filed sequences for each of the 5 systems that we're looking at on these 2 source pages. But before we do that, let's look at the label control file for this project so we can see what's going on. So this one is called sound.lbl, and this is what it looks like. And it's pretty large. There's a lot of text in here, but a lot of it is repetitive. The paragraph that you compose for the oboes and English horn has almost this very same set of functions that are required for making the flutes. And so what you can do is copy and paste the function paragraphs around and just edit the various parameters for the text items that you need and their IDs and so on. So there's a lot less typing than it would seem. One of the things that you specify in the control file is how files are to be divvied up among a tiled file sequence. And for this project, the complete tiled file sequence is greater than the number of staves in it is greater than the maximum number of staves that can exist in a single score file, so you have to divide it up among tiled files. And so here, the staves and file statement explains that in the A file, you're going to have the first 12 staves. In the B file, you're going to have the next 10. In the C, you're going to have the next 8, and then 9, and then 5, and then 13. And if you were to move these around, if I were to change this to 10 and that to 12, then the top 10 staves would be in the A sequence, and then the 2 that were at the bottom would be moved to the next sequence. So you can actually shuffle staves around from within the tiled sequence just by changing the values in this statement here, the staves and file statement. But this is the complete control file, and I have it set up where I have an A file section, a B file section, that's the clarinets. It also contains the bassoons. Here's the C file section, which is for the horns, and it's just 4 horns, but it's all the different possible combinations of the horns on individual staves, where horns 1 and 3 are on one staff, horns 1 and 2 are on one staff, or horn 1 is by itself, 2 and 4 are by themselves, and so on. You come up with a distinct staff for each possibility that you encounter. Here's the D sequences, which are for trumpets, trombones, tuba. Here's for the percussion, timpani, and so on, including piano. And then the final is the E files, which are the strings, violins, and so on. And at the bottom, as I showed you before, I like to keep as a glossary the template.txt file, which contains all of the function statements and their glosses. And it's always helpful for me to have this at the bottom of the text file to kind of refer to as I'm constructing the various functions. Okay, so that's the label control file for this. Now, we are going to generate a tiled template from that control file using the GT switch, which we've looked at before. but this is the first time we're using it to create a tiled file sequence. So here we're saying we're executing labels with the generate template switch, and we're saying that the very first file in the tiled file sequence should be Q01A, and boom, it makes it. And the result is this. Here we have the A file, which has the piccolos and flutes and oboes. If I zoom in, you can see that more easily. And notice that it's all the different possibilities that we prescribed in the control file. We have 1, 2, and 3 on a single staff for the piccolos, and then separate staves 1, 2, and 3, which may be used in the full score itself, or just in the extraction score. The extraction score will ideally contain an individual staff for each player in the winds and brass, and that's why even if in the full score you're always showing flutes 1 and 2 on the same staff, for the extraction score you're going to want to have an individual staff for 1 and 2. And so in the master German score, all of these will be displayed. And this master score could be used for inputting. You would generate this first and then input directly to it. You could strip out the staves you don't need if you want, but this is one of the uses. And so here's the B file sequence, and this is the E flat clarinet and the B flat clarinets and the bassoons, and here are all the horns and all their various permutations. Just 4 of them, but 8 staves altogether we need here. And the same with the trumpets and the brass. And then here's the percussion. And finally the strings. And here we make provisions for 2 solo first violins. And here we're making use of that ability to put a piano accolade outside of a P5 equals 10 bar line. Now, I'll stop this lesson here, and in the next lesson we will go over how to use the SEPFILE command to actually extract individual tiled filed sequences from those 2 master files we looked at that had the individual systems on them. So over and out.